Sige, hintayin muna natin na igalaw ni Bruce Lim ang baso. Yun. Ginalaw na ang baso. We're live. Yay.
What up, guys? Bruce, Glendale, what up?
Thank you. Happy 600 indeed.
It doesn't feel like a 600th episode, to be honest with you. Just like it's another week.
To me, it does. Too much
Still
going on.
Special day for us. Hey, Kyle Martin.
Kyle, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a bit, I think. Emil back on his spectator grind. We fired him. Sorry, Emil. Sad to see you go.
Kala ko sasabihin mo, glad to see you go ang puto.
No, I was almost about to say glad to see you go. Bye, Emil.
Wait, totoo?
No, Jesus Christ.
God damn.
Anyway,
What is wrong with you, Rowan? What the hell?
Oh, I'll be sad.
Oh, wait, I can join the chat from here? What? Okay.
Oh, ano bago to ah? Yeah.
That's a new feature. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna join as me.
Ngayon ko lang din nakita to.
Okay, while we have you here,
Tinatapo din si Bruce eh. Tinan mo, muntik tuloy atakihin yung tao.
while we have you here, so before we went on the air, we were talking about we were giving Rowan suggestions on what what pair of headphones to buy kasi yung binibili niya galing Miniso lang, and because galing Miniso lang binibili niya, it doesn't work as well as we would all like it to. So if you got any good, decent, and achievable headphone suggestions, please drop them in the chat. As a Sennheiser for 4 to 5K is too much for young Rowan's meager budget as a student, and more than we can pay him as an ASH of the podcast.
Meron yan pag yung mga 7/7 sale sa Lazada. We can get a good brand. May mahanap tayo under 3K. Pero wala, you really have to spend, Like that's what we were telling Rowan before we started. You really have to spend.
Emil here with a good suggestion, 2K for JBLs. Yeah, I run JBLs.
That sounds decent.
Edifier, pwede na. Yeah, Edifier is not a bad budget brand.
Yeah, I haven't messed with Edifier before, so I wouldn't know.
I used to have Edifier speakers. They're not bad. Very entry level, if you will.
Actually, kahit Bluetooth headphones if meron pang Soundcore na Q20 kaso out of stock na siya eh. You could actually spring for a Soundcore Q20. Tinatanong ni Glendale, would you feel like a wrestling god after using a JBL pair?
Okay, Glendale. Okay.
Bruce, I have no idea what IEMs are. Oh, JK is joining us. What's up, JK? Yeah, but tinatype niyo yung mga suggestions niyo. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was reading Bruce's question here, which I guess we'll talk about later because we'll talk about Forbidden Door.
Ready nyo na yung mga questions nyo for Money in the Bank, your reactions to Forbidden Door. We're going to talk about that on episode 600 of the Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, Bruce is right. Avoid Chinese brand, which is Miniso.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the star.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. 600 episodes going strong for this podcast, which is over 9 years old at this point. Stan C, Romaran, and Rowan ASH at your service for tonight's live stream. Happy 600th episode, guys.
All right.
Hello, happy 600th episode. Like I said on the pre-show, it doesn't feel like 600 episodes. It's just just another Thursday. Like
Still
M.
big
Bison.
numbers.
Ikaw, Rowan, it's not a big deal for you talaga? You're gonna be all
No.
cool here?
I don't know. I said it's still big numbers and I like big numbers. Siyempre, lalo na kung sa kumpara yan, I'd like it.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. Work.
para may
Work it.
pambili ka ng headphones.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's true.
Mhm.
And fight forever.
Yes, that's right. Ikaw, Ro, any early reviews from having played the game?
Oh, are we doing this now?
We can. I mean, Rowan mentioned it already.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole thing about Fight Forever is that it definitely caters to an entire generation of wrestling gamers, people who grew up with No Mercy, Def Jam games even. So the whole hook really is that you get to play with a different engine, and then you get to play with AEW guys. So if you were tired of the 20 plus years of WWE's dominance with the simulation style wrestling game, this is a nice change of pace. But other than that, it kind of falls apart because the game is, as much as I wanted to like it, I really did want to like it. I still have to play more of it. I will do so this weekend, but a lot of it is still kind of half baked. Alam mo yung kailangan ilabas na kasi matagal na siyang iniire. Diba? So it's like that. I mean, like, I'm sure you'll enjoy it still, especially if you want a different video game experience when it comes to wrestling. Tapos if you haven't been able to play the latest 2K games, especially Rowan doesn't have a PS4 or whatever, PS5, PC. He's part of that sad part of the market who does not have a current gen console. It's still fun. It's just that I wouldn't expect anything that's even close to what 2K puts out every year. No, thank you though to THQ Nordic and AEW Games for supplying us, some Manila Wrestling Federation, with an advanced copy. It definitely is nice to recreate ourselves then in a different game, a different universe, if you will. And it's glad to see the big companies support the little companies like us by allowing us to get our hands on the one of the most anticipated games of the year by wrestling fans.
Yeah, good for you guys. Now you already have your early access copies. Obviously, I can't have one for reasons. So, like the rest of you, like Rowan here, we're gonna find our way through yung online stores on Nintendo or Sony or the Xbox store, whichever console you're on, since they are on pretty much every console, including PC. So there, something for you to catch over the weekend in case you have nothing better to do. But we have so much to talk about because there's so much wrestling going on. And that's why we want you to be part of our growing wrestling podcast patron community. Lalo na, we have Money in the Bank coming up this weekend. Rowan, can you do the plug?
No. I'm not leaving this to Rowan. No, sorry. You are.
Kabado ako ngayon.
Yeah. You're not gonna
also drank
pull
coffee,
this
so-
one off.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so guys, we just had Forbidden Door earlier this week. Thank you, Stan, for streaming it for the first time to our patrons. And this weekend, on Sunday specifically, we will be doing the Money in the Bank delayed telecast watch party on Discord. The difference here is that we did actually spring for the VPN. We are actually bringing you the WWE Network feed, not live, but delayed after the show ends. We'll be doing this at 9 a.m. Syempre para may time tayong gumising na di naman super aga, pero alam mo yun, refresh tayo. We don't have to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. just to catch the show in UK time. We will be giving you Stan and Carlo Pamintuan's Tagalog feed, Tagalog commentary once again. I know I missed it. I don't know if you guys missed it. I hope you guys did, because these guys are working very hard to bring the WWE action in our native tongue, and we will be getting to hear that again when we do the watch party on Discord. And then all you got to do is subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as only $5. That's 175 pesos here in the Philippines. That hasn't changed much. And you get exclusive benefits when you join our Patreon community. You get the Discord community where we do the watch parties, syempre AEW, syempre network feeds like this. And Shepard will do NXT as well, because we now have access to the network again. So that's on the table too. Then hindi na siya exclusive, but we do have freebie reviews as well. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. I have to say an extra show now. And then syempre MWF, care of Rowan here. And syempre, we have Pasabay. We're still working that out. We're doing something different. We're planning to do something different with that. But it's still very much a benefit and perk of being a wrestling podcast patron. And syempre, again, all of that good stuff for only $5. Patreon.com/wrestling podcast. Let's all watch Money in the Bank this Sunday. And maybe, your favorite 40-year-old, 40 na ba siya, will win Money in the Bank. My favorite 40-year-old is like Nakamura. So I don't
If
know.
you're talking about LA Knight, he is 40, yes.
Yeah, so my favorite 40-year-old is Nakamura. Your favorite 40-year-old is LA Knight. Also, we might as well plug it na rin kasi we have locked it down with our friends from Skinny Mike Sports Bar in Bonifacio Global City. We will be doing SummerSlam live in Skinny Mike's. What day is that?
Yes. That's August 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry,
Yes, true. Tama.
August 6th. Yeah, August 6th. Sunday
time.
morning in Manila, Skinny Mike Sports Bar. Please, let's all make this a successful event, because I don't want to point fingers here, but the last time we used to do SummerSlam, it did not go as well as Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. So the times are different. We got a new boss. I hope that you guys are more excited to be at SummerSlam nowadays. Syempre, Sunday na siya. You don't have to take a leave on Monday morning anymore. So let's all pile in. Skinny Mike Sports Bar on August 6th. That's a Sunday morning. We'll be releasing yung ticket pages, syempre, where you can go to buy the tickets. We'll be doing it in partnership as well with our friends from Geek Talk PH, syempre, our friends Legend Dennis and Galactic Shark, big wrestling fans who also want to see this, who want to watch Cody versus Brock and whoever challenges for Roman's championship. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that you guys will come, kasi syempre, we do want more of these events to happen. We do want all of you to join us and congregate with us as we bring back the live wrestling experience further in Manila. So, ayun, dami nating events. Let's hope. I hope that I see y'all there, and sana di kayo talk shit.
Yun yung version natin of church. Since
Yeah.
it's on a Sunday morning and BGC,
Yes, sir.
diba, on a Sunday morning, hindi masyado matraffic. So I hope that it encourages you to show up and show out for SummerSlam at Skinny Mike's. And who knows, if there's enough demand, we might actually get sponsors again. We were able to give out a lot of really cool action figures ng WrestleMania viewing party. So sana maulit muli if all of you create the demand for it. So we'll see you, or they will see you, at Skinny Mike's for the viewing party. I'll be on duty for Tagalog commentary for that show as well.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, because we have the VPN, we will be showing the network feed as well in that live viewing party. So I know that the internet and Skinny Mics can hold up. I know they held up, WrestleMania and all of that. So I think we can guarantee that for sure.
All right. Let's start off with the actual news that we have to talk about. And we're going to start off with Mr. McMahon here because meron mga reports na his influence is all over creative once again. And there are examples that were raised by the different dirt sheets and the different wrestling journalists. Things like how last week's episode of SmackDown had advertised matches na hindi natuloy, like Bailey versus Shotzi, for example, where if Bailey were to lose, Shotzi was going to replace her supposedly in Money in the Bank. So a match like that, which had already been built up with promos and whatnot, didn't get to happen. And that was, according to the dirt sheets online, one of the many ways daw na naramdaman natin yung influence ulit ni Vince McMahon in the creative. And apparently, ang bali-balita is that Triple H, who's the chief creative officer, and Nick Khan, the president of WWE, they're doing what they can to try and minimize it. So, ikaw, Ro, what do you think about this since you're the one who gets to review all of the shows on the daily?
Okay, so the biggest, I think the biggest violator, everyone was up in arms about this week's Raw being Vince-ified again. Rowan can talk about this as well because he saw SmackDown last Friday. But to me, kasi, even though they say that Vince was all over it, to me, it still felt like a Triple H production. All the stuff I like from wrestling storytelling is still there. Like they had Ciampa explain why he did what he did. They tied together a bunch of different people, a bunch of different players. So a lot of that was still there. I don't know if they messed with any advertised matches that were supposed to be on Raw, but it was all good. I think, I don't know, maybe it could get worse in the coming weeks, but this one felt pretty safe. And yun nga, if it's true that Nick Khan and Triple H are still pushing back against Vince meddling, then I think we'll be okay pa rin. I hope so. We don't know for sure, but right now there is, for me, no cause for alarm just yet.
I'm surprised that hindi ako maniniwala na ginalaw ni Vince yung show. Like, he rewrote it. Pero like, kasi I watched SmackDown last Friday or last Saturday. Pero hindi naman siya mukhang ginalaw ni Vince. Like, it's still, tama si Ro, it's like a Triple H production pa rin. I enjoyed it. And parang, like, yung matches are like, not less than 5 minutes. Kaya na-enjoy ko talaga siya. It definitely didn't feel like ginalaw ni Vince.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to co-sign what Rose said regarding Raw, because one of the things that stood out that I really liked was that vignette from Finn Balor where he explained yung bitterness niya and the root of all of his resentment towards Seth Rollins. And we don't really get those vignettes very often to really flesh out a character's motivations. And that's something we kind of have been getting more. At least mas normal siya in Triple H's creative regime. So, I don't know. These are things we read on the internet, whether or not totoo or 100% totoo, only the people inside actually know, right? So, we can only really tell things from as much as we can see through the screens when we watch these shows. If you're gonna make all these comments na, ay nako, Vince na naman or whatever, at least sana nanonood ka from start to finish. So you can actually make the comments justifiably. Because if you're the type of fan who just go on YouTube and watch the 3-minute highlights, and then you're going to say, Vince na naman, I think that's pretty unfair.
To be fair, they're also, according to the news, they're also trying to Vince-proof the shows by announcing matches in advance, like weeks in advance, para hindi niya magalaw, diba? Because if you move it, syempre, people are going to call it out, diba? Well, that's good because for one, I really do need WWE to actually book their shows in advance, like AEW does. Because there's too much of this blank slate Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, diba na? Oh, you can put the show on and then you don't have a main event, and then you'll make the main event in the opening segment. So that's, I don't what kind of show would you go to a show without a main event? Diba? So that's messed up. So
Gagawin pa lang ni Teddy
diba?
Long.
If you went to an MWF show, Rowan, wala pa kami main event pero pumunta ka lang kasi malalaman mo kung ano yung main event sa first segment.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I'm fine with going to events without knowing yung match card. Like kung konti lang yung alam, or like konti lang
no,
yung
but the main event
alam.
is the draw, diba?
Yeah,
I mean,
of
like,
course.
if you were sold Money in the Bank without a main event, like, would you buy Money in the Bank, diba? So, well, that's the thing. Anyway, no, I'm digressing here, but all I wanted to say really was that if this Vince thing was gonna force them to actually book cards in advance, and I'm all for it.
All right. In a bit, we're going to talk about Forbidden Door, our review of the show, plus some news that have come out since the show ended on Monday morning. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. All right. Before we get to Forbidden Door, let's have Ro answer Julian's question.
Okay, Julian says Vince saved Finn last week. And that was last week when he had Finn attack Seth, diba? That was a Triple H call because they had Ciampa back, diba? You're talking about the same thing, right? The Seth Open challenge, and then Finn attacked Seth before Miz came out to answer it, diba?
Yeah, that's what happened 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Yeah. So that was a Triple H call because he didn't want to spoil Finn. So if anything, you should be thanking your big boss Hunter, your daddy Hunter, your Papa H. So and then you have you also thank him for the Ciampa return that happened last week. So all of that happened not because of Vince.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ro, may fan
hey.
ka, nagpapa-shoutout
Yeah,
sa'yo.
yeah. I think this is a guy from TikTok. Kasi, I acknowledge his comment. Hey, Kirby, what's up, man? Thank you for listening and tuning in. Maraming salamat. Sana mag-enjoy ka.
All right. Let's talk about Forbidden Door, and we're going to start with our favorite wrestler here, at least for 2/3 of this live stream. Bryan Danielson, who defeated Kazuchika Okada by tapping him out with a broken freaking arm. Apparently, we found out in the days since Forbidden Door wrapped that Bryan had injured himself minutes into the match and wrestled the next 10 minutes with a complete break in one of the bones in his arm. And see, Brie Bella even posted the X-ray on her stories. This is nuts. Anytime someone can keep on wrestling with a fracture like that, it's always nuts to me. It tells me a lot about how tough the person is, and a little bit then parang how baliw they are, diba? Na they can just go out and do that and probably risk further injury. I wouldn't know. I'm not a doctor, so hindi ko masasabi if they're actually risking further injury or what. Ikaw, Rowan, what do you think when you hear about stories like this na what Bryan just did in the main event of Forbidden Door?
Actually, all throughout the match, hindi ko siya nahalata, which is weird. Like, he carried on. And Bryan is such a good pro na even though he's in pain, like he's already hurt, he still continued wrestling. And he continued wrestling against someone like Okada. So if it's not Bryan, siguro, they call for the X.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Ikaw, Ro, would you do this?
Probably would. It depends. I wouldn't know because I've never torn or broken anything in the ring. I've only just sprained. That's as far as I had gotten. So I can't say. But I'm gonna compare this favorably to the Cody Rhodes thing that I ranted about last month, diba? So back at Night of Champions, see Cody pretty much wrestled, quote unquote, and endured, quote unquote, Brock Lesnar with a quote unquote broken arm, diba? So these are two different approaches to the same thing, and this approach is pretty much the legit approach because Bryan did actually break his arm, and obviously this is a lot a way better tale of perseverance and grit and endurance. Because for one thing, you don't actually focus your offense on the arm that is legitimately broken, diba? So uh, that in itself is admirable because they're not trying to do anything stupid out there. Whereas Cody and Brock, went the other way completely by choosing to target the quote unquote broken arm and having the ref push through with the match despite it. Meanwhile, see Brian and Okada just tried to go home as fast as they could or work around it, diba? Which is the right thing you should do when a bone is broken in the match. So this more effectively conveyed the fact that Brian was a tough guy, was a persevering face, was a enduring pro. A lot
Despite him
more
being the
than
heel here.
yeah, compared to Cody's overblown, overglorified, overforced attempt at heroism because he has a quote unquote broken arm. So I don't know if I would recommend it, but at the very least, they didn't try to aggravate the injury like idiots. So that's always a good thing. So
Work on the arm.
yeah, diba? Exactly. They incorporated it in the story. I think they avoided it. They were able to sell the thing without having to target it. So to me, okay yun. Kasi it was one of the smartest things that they could do, with the match itself. But, good thing. That should cement Brian as one of the greatest of all time, I think.
For sure, yeah. I absolutely agree. Before we continue here, shout out to babyface producer Gel, who's in the chat, greeting us a happy 600. Thank you so much, babyface producer Gel.
Miss you.
Saan ka man naroroon ngayon? Uh, okay, so two things coming out of the Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada match. One, the final countdown. Holy crap! After we found out from Tony Khan himself na sobrang taas ng rate ng Europe for every play of the final countdown, we heard it be used at an AEW show. Sabi ni Brian nung media scrum that he hasn't heard the song since his last ROH date. So it made the moment extra special for him. And the second thing is that the injury that Brian sustained at Forbidden Door is going to keep him out from 6 to 8 weeks. So mukhang hindi siya magiging part ng All In at Wembley Stadium as an in-ring competitor.
Yeah. That, sorry. Ako, I didn't really, hindi na ako umasa na abot siya ng All In. Anytime that there is anything involving the bone, you don't want to rush it. And with the show being that close, I wasn't gonna hold out hope that he was gonna make it. So it's fine. There are other things that they could use to sell the Wembley show, the London show. I think one of them we'll talk about in a bit. But I already had my fill. Like I had Brian versus Okada. I was already satisfied with that. And if they're not gonna do blood and guts at All In, then what? Then
no, they're not. They're doing it in like 3 weeks.
Exactly. So they're not. I don't need Brian on that show.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Rowan, any thoughts on the final countdown or yung length ng length ng injured time for Brian?
Well, I just wish him a speedy recovery. And yung final countdown, I wouldn't say it's memorable for me kasi hindi ko naman naabutan yung Ring of Honor days niya. And I wasn't even watching Ring of Honor. But it's a great pop. Like, nakita ko yung crowd, like, they went crazy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Sobrang mahal daw. It's like $100,000 thereabouts for the 2 times that they played the final countdown on pay-per-view. So I hope it was worth it. I really hope it was worth it for everybody involved. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Did it deliver for you, Rowan?
Yeah, absolutely. Magkakahalo yung fighting style. Like, there's high flying and there's power moves involved as well, which I really like. And nagdugo sila, which is something that we don't see that much anymore, unless it's a John
Excuse me?
Okay. In AEW, dude.
No. He saved it. He saved
it.
He saved it. Unless it's John Moxley.
Okay.
Yeah, pero yun nga, like, they went crazy. They even used the steps and all, the hood of the table. I want I want this type of match, and it's something that I want to do when I play AEW Fight Forever.
Kala ko, pag naging wrestler ka.
No, 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 no. Hindi naman ako ganun ka-violent. Grabe.
Uh-huh. All right. Ikaw, Ro, what are your thoughts on Omega Osprey 2? Because after this match, people were saying now we're gonna have the trilogy be completed by the next Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, before that, I almost forgot. Congratulations to Julian for graduating senior high this
All
week.
right.
Hey, congrats, Julian.
Isa ka na, isa ka na ganap na high school graduate. But all right. Okay, so I really like this match. I like this match a lot. I saw your comments. I saw that saw a lot of people say it went too long. But the thing is, because it went long because they not because they wanted to jerk themselves off diba, in the ring, but because Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay were actually wrestling a big boy match. By that I mean they weren't trying to do they were trying to grow up and move on from the nasty wrestler stereotypes that people like Jim Cornette have about them, like a spot monkey sila kesyo, they don't sell, they just do a whole bunch of sequences to pop the boys, the fans, diba? um I think this match would pass the Paul London test, if you will. It was a real fight. It didn't feel like an exhibition of acrobatics or gymnastics. Wherever there were high flying or acrobatic spots, this was mostly done to punctuate the actual gritty violence that Rowan was referencing. So a lot of this was good. And without the time that they were taking to actually sell the shit that they were doing to each other, it would have played off a lot worse, and it would have played off the way the haters would expect an Omega and Osprey match to go. And I really appreciated this because I think, I don't know, this is me really spitballing here, but I think it was them trying to prove that, okay, we can actually do the storytelling thing. We can actually prove that we are mature wrestlers, if you will. Diba? So I would like to, if you watch this and, just watch it at the surface level, I think I would like to ask you to watch it back and appreciate how much of themselves they were giving in that match, because it was really a lot, and they were trying to service the story that they wanted to tell in that match, diba? So it was long, yes, but I think they were trying to prove a point, and I think that point was proven. Giancarlo was talking about and Glendale talking about Don Callis here. Yes, I agree that Don Callis was unnecessary in the larger picture, but I also understood what they were trying to go for here. Because the thing about this match is that when you hold it across two different promotions, the alignments are all fucked up. In New Japan, Kenny is the heel and Will is the face. In AEW, Kenny is obviously the face and Will has to be the heel. So I think this is also me spitballing again. They had to find a way to kind of marry the two, like for Will at least. But they had to find a way to honor what New Japan was trying to do for Will, because they really were trying to position him as a big star, as the leader of United Empire, as their next big Gaijin star without Kenny Omega in the home roster. Diba? So I think what they were trying to do there is that, one, you service Will as a heel and Don the Kenny Omega and Don Callis storyline by having Don interfere and try to cheat, but you don't make that the cause for Will's win. Will still has to pull out the win from his own pockets by his own bootstraps and prove that he did actually have what it takes to beat Kenny Omega decisively. The screwdriver helped, yes, but if you would notice, it was still the big moves, the highly unsafe Tiger Driver 91, the two hidden blades that they had, the Stormbreaker that he did, all of that he had to use against Kenny Omega and overcome the very stereotypical, the heel used the heel cheated with the third party outside the ring to win. So I think natawid nila yun. The amount of time it took to get there, I think, kind of serviced the things that they wanted to do there. And if this was Tony Khan's big master plan to honor the crazy way Will Ospreay and to an extent Kenny Omega was booked across, an ocean, diba? Then I think he did it well. I think both guys played their part well. Um, Again, I will agree that in the end, I didn't think Don Callis needed to be there, but I get why he had to be there. So, good stuff, a lot of good stuff. Again, I would like to ask you to watch it back because it really is like a crowning moment of this pay per view.
Julian, I want to address yung sinasabi mo about ejection rules. Hindi lang AEW, like wrestling everywhere.
Yeah,
No matter
yeah.
what promotion you go to, if someone gets ejected, chances are they're gonna come right back.
Yeah.
I should know. I've done this myself.
It
Speaking from
really is one of
experience.
it's one of those things that kailangan you gotta bend for the story. It is messy when it happens, but sometimes you gotta do it. And rightfully, yes, call it out. Pero sometimes you have to get there.
It do be like that because wrestling.
Yeah.
Ito,
Yeah.
question for you guys. Let's start with Rowan. Should this match have main evented over Bryan versus Okada?
Anything that has Kenny Omega in it, it can main event. It will draw a lot of money.
Yeah, but should it have
Pero
main evented
I-
over Bryan Okada?
I'm fine. Pero I'm fine with Bryan and Okada main eventing. Kasi parang, I mean, uh, even though Omega versus Osprey is like a title match, parang it's okay to make somewhere in the middle of the show. Tapos whatever's next, parang pahinga, and then main event.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think it should have main evented. I think that was a money match talaga. I actually thought the match was gonna be for All In, diba? That should have been the big draw for the UK because hometown boy, but still Will again isn't a face in AEW. So okay, sure. But in any, in any given Sunday, that should have been the main event, especially with the kind of main event time that they got. I hope that my explanation for it was, for the whole Don Callis thing was enough for you. But I guess accept why a lot of you still don't think that was the case. But anyway, yes, I also understand why Bryan and Okada main evented. Siyempre, Okada is still the biggest star, and Bryan is kind of the biggest star, but still not the biggest of stars, but good enough. It's just that if you were gonna, I think the biggest story was still Kenny versus Will. So when you compare that with an exhibition match, the big story should win out.
I'm gonna be taking Rowan's side here, and I'll say they were right to main event Bryan Okada for the same reasons. We were okay with Anarchy in the
Yeah.
Arena closing out Double or Nothing
Yeah.
over the Four Pillars, diba?
I don't hate
Bryan
it.
is the mainstream star.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kenny Omega can say that yet, or if we can say that yet about Kenny, but Bryan is that guy. And si Okada, diba, he's on that level where he goes up against a big American mainstream star that epitomizes the pagka-crossover event ng Forbidden Door. So for those reasons alone, I think they were right na Bryan Okada was the main event.
I don't hate it. It's just that I think in any other card it could have been the main event. Although I don't think we're disputing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not. All right, let's talk about CM Punk here because good old Phil got a taste of what it's like to be absolutely booed in Toronto. So good job, Toronto, for doing your part. Should he just embrace the heelishness and not try to portray himself as a babyface? Because like on Collision, he was still on the side of the babyface, but with FTR and Ricky Starks and going up against the Guns and Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. The thing is that when he came back in Chicago last week, diba? Initially when he started to shoot on the Elite, he was pretty much a heel. He was pretty much a dick. And then nagkataon lang na the Chicago crowd that still loves him a lot, they just ended up making him look like a face. So that was what happened. But in any other city like Toronto, things changed, and they very clearly did not like CM Punk. So I think there is a couple more weeks left in this experiment, and I think once you find out whether the boos are greater than the cheers or vice versa, I think that's when you should adjust. Uh, if the rest of the cities are going to be like Toronto, then you might as well make him be a heel because uh, I enjoyed him as a heel, not because I wanted to boo him, but because as a wrestler, I enjoyed his really relaxed wrestling. Kasi, si ABL put it really well in a nice way that he wasn't trying to keep up with the kids, because when he's a face, he tries to keep up with the kids. He
Yeah.
tries to keep up with their pace, tries to wrestle as fast as they do, and it results in the sloppy Phil thing, the sloppy CM Punk thing, which is, while charming to an extent, it kind of exposes him as the middle-aged wrestler that he actually is. But in the match versus Kojima in Forbidden Door, he wrestled in his own time, which is something I really, really appreciate. Because you don't want to, you would much rather see someone wrestle in a really relaxed way than, try to be someone who's jittery and, medyo you cringe for them. I mean, the fact that Punk botched the fucking the buckshot lariat twice, diba? You don't want to see that shit. I would much rather see the guy who was making fun of Kojima, doing the Nagata Mongolian chops on him. Diba? That was way more entertaining to me. And yes, it is antithesis to what a heel should be, but that's to me as a wrestler, because I watch it with a different set of eyes. And Toronto, meanwhile, reacted the way they should have reacted to someone like CM Punk. So kung ganun na lang din, like, let's just keep this, let's have him be the shit stirrer. Let's have him be the guy who wants to rile up the crowd because he knows the crowd doesn't like him. Let's have him be the guy who is actually pretty aware that he is a dick, and people would much rather boo him than cheer him, except when he's in his hometown.
Yeah, sabi nga ni
So
Aaron, what if that's the Brett thing where he is a dick and he's loved only in Canada?
yeah, sure. That will be okay if the writing supports it. Because at this point, it's still not supporting it. Because he's teaming with what? He's teaming with FTR and Ricky Starks in main events of Collision, diba? And those
Yeah.
guys are really established baby faces and very much not heels. So, if Punk is going to be adjusting, then the writing around Punk has to adjust as well. So, if I were Tony Khan, I would be leaning toward him being full heel na. Gawin na natin yun. I don't care about the rest of the shows. I don't want to observe to see if they're going to cheer him or boo him. I'd rather just have him boo him. Or, I'd rather give them a reason to boo him, because at this point, I don't think he is that redeemable as a character, as a person.
All right,
You know-
since Rowan just got here, do you have thoughts or did you
Yeah.
miss it back? I wasn't sure.
Like, I'm fine with Punk being a heel. Like, he's just not a convincing babyface anymore, at least in
Yeah.
my eyes.
Yun.
Saka, him being a heel is very effective. Like, back in 2012, when he turned heel, diba? Parang, I kind of know how wrestling is scripted, pero I still got worked up about, I still got worked up on his heel work. So, I'm fine with him being a heel. Kasi, I mean, I don't want him to be a face anymore. Kasi, it's parang mali na nga yung mga pinagagawa niya backstage, tapos we're gonna still cheer him. Nah.
Yeah,
I
but that's the
mean-
thing, diba? It's what you do backstage or in your personal life should theoretically be different from how you're presented on screen, because that's a character that you play on TV.
Yun nga, kaya nga, he is the Duterte of pro wrestling. So people will cheer the shitty stuff. So that's why TK is still, feeling justified about keeping him as a face. But eventually, if the rest of the road is gonna be like Toronto, then I think you should cut your losses and do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, last thing here about Forbidden Door. Did you think that NJPW was integrated better than last year? Kasi last year, diba, medyo rushed yung build. Like, everything was just put together in a span of 2 weeks. Whereas, eto, we actually got a bit of time for at least the big matches. But everything else, ganun din, parang tagpi-tagpi lang. You have a random Tomohiro Ishii aligning with Eddie Kingston type of deal, and all those other cross-promotional matches. So, compared to last year, mas maganda ba yung integration?
I would say so. It's still not the best. It's still yun nga pinagtagpi-tagpi pa rin siya. Pero the big draws kasi like Osprey and Omega and Okada versus Bryan, they were still at least, planned out in advance, and they were given the time and effort to make it feel like a big deal. Tapos the rest were just okay. Let's stick some NJPW guys on, and we'll see how it goes. So if that gets anchored by your your big matches, then okay siya to me. And I would still prefer this one over the shit show we got last year.
Ikaw, Rowan, any thoughts on this?
This is a bad look for me. I'm sorry. I didn't get to watch some AW shows for the build up sa Forbidden Door, but I do
No,
agree. I do agree that
mean,
last year's build up to Forbidden Door, parang it's too rushed. Masyadong minadali, and parang it wasn't given enough time to tell the story. They just jumped to the match or the pay-per-view.
All right. We'll probably talk about Jungle Boy's heel turn in the audio only version. Just addressing Leo here, who did mention na he's not yet on the level of Prison Dom or
yeah,
Ex-Con Dom.
I got thoughts about this. I think Leo will like my thoughts about this.
So watch out for that when we drop the audio only version on the audio only episode. It's up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It'll be up by tomorrow. But first, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Money in the Bank predictions. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. All right, it's time for our Money in the Bank predictions. Again, they're going to be the show is going to be airing live from the UK, 3 a.m. on Disney Plus. But if you don't want to wake up or stay up until 3 a.m. to watch it, Ro already told you how you can enjoy it at our own pace on Sunday morning. All right, let's go through the show and its matches one by one. We'll start off with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and the champions, or the former champions, who are invoking their rematch because they never lost the titles, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Rowan, let's start with you here.
So the titles are on the line, not Liv and Raquel, like what I said from the previous audio only. They are first in line. That's what I was supposed to say. Just gotta clear that. So for this one, I want the champs to retain. I don't mind them being the tag champs. I don't like Ronda Rousey that much. I actually think they can be the female version of the Bar. Like sila yung parang yung standard in the tag team division.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro.
Yeah, I agree. This is kind of obvious. I mean, like, I wouldn't say that pang SmackDown lang to. I mean, yes, ideally, yes, pero, it's Ronda Rousey on your pay-per-view card. That's still kind of set. I think that still matters somewhat to some people. And I think may cash pa rin siya to be put on a pay-per-view. But, there's no way they're losing the championships. I mean, come on. It's Shayna and Ronda. Come on.
Yeah. Especially this soon. Eto, tanong ni Albert, how to like Ronda right now? I just can't. That's the point. They're heels.
You don't. No, but okay, if you're asking this as a smart fan, like, I would suggest that you enjoy her mat work. I said that's her ground game is like the best. I enjoy it so much. I know she's not like the best pro wrestler when it in terms of being a pro wrestler, but she's trying to make something different work, and I really appreciate it because I enjoy watching the groundwork, the technical wrestling, the judo, jiu-jitsu stuff that she likes to do. I think it makes her stand out, and you don't have to like her as a person, you don't have to like her as a character, but I think her work as a pro wrestler and how she puts it together as a pro wrestler is worth giving a chance to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're a Shayna fan, Albert, but I am a Shayna fan, and having Ronda here in a prominent position with the championship makes Shayna Baszler relevant. So that's
Mhm.
one more reason for me to like Ronda. So yeah, I guess it's a matter of perspective. Also, they're heels, so it doesn't really matter if you like them or not. All right, next up, Intercontinental Championship. It's Matt Riddle against Gunther. Is he the
That is the
guy to break?
that is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship to you.
I like how
Is
they
he
do.
the guy? Is he the guy to defeat Gunther?
Nah.
No. Parang no. I mean, would be nice, but no. I think they're saving this up. It is Roman Reigns too. It's being saved up for something. I just don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
I just want
Rowan?
Gunther to have. I just want Gunther to have a never-ending reign.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah. We can all be on our deathbeds and still look up at Gunther being champion at the age of 60 something or 70 something. So yeah, I can live with that too, or die with that. All right, eto na. Let's get to the Money in the Bank ladder matches. Let's start with the women. Who will be, in the words of Rey Mysterio, Mrs. Money in the Bank?
Okay. Would it be crazy if it was Trish? Pero,
Does Trish need it?
No.
why not?
Pero it would be really cool.
Ang bali-balita right now sa mga dirt sheets is that Io Sky is still the front runner.
Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I do think we do need a new top face, and I think she will be the top face. I don't mind the upcoming Oscar versus Io matches. I don't mind the Io versus Bailey matches and the Io Bianca matches again. So yeah, I don't hate that. I don't mind picking her to win. I would give it to Trish because it's Trish. Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, it's a literal thank you run. No? It's her first ladder match, her first Money in the Bank match in her 20+ year career in the biz.
Ako for dark horse pick, I'll have Zelina. I don't know. Parang others are too obvious to win, like Bailey, Becky, Io. Parang masyado silang obvious na mananalo. I'll pick someone who's not too obvious.
All right, good luck with that, Rowan. Is it time for Io and Bailey to turn on each other?
Yeah,
I think
I
this
think
is the
it's time.
right time, the right place.
Mhm.
Tamang panahon.
Yeah. Especially now na walang Dakota Kai in the picture. It gives them both something to do with each other. Ito lang, the question is, with whom will Dakota side when she makes her eventual comeback from injury? All right. Let's give a shout out here to Troy of the Turning Heel podcast.
Troy, what up, man?
Another one of our up and coming pods in the local scene. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Sabi ni Troy, he wants Io to win. Awesome. Let's go to Mr. Money in the Bank. A lot of you have been saying, yeah, all night. So I'm saying, I'm guessing that you guys are rooting for LA Knight. But for those of you who are not rooting for LA Knight, let us know who you're rooting for.
Logan Paul.
Are you rooting for Logan Paul? Rowan, are you rooting for Logan Paul?
Yeah, buti na wala si Chino dito. Hindi, wait, may naisip ako eh. Because if it's not LA Knight, I do like LA Knight and I want him to win this match. Pero what if Logan Paul wins? Ako may naisip akong scenario na later on as Seth defends his world title, he retains of course, and then Judgment Day will attack him, and then Logan Paul will cash in just to reignite the WrestleMania feud.
Okay, but what does it benefit Judgment Day to have Seth lose, but Logan Paul walk out with the World Heavyweight Championship?
Wow, that doesn't make sense. But yeah,
Hindi
but
naman
that's
nila
the
tropa si
scenario
Logan Paul.
I created. That's a scenario I created in my head.
This is why you
Yes.
are on your way to becoming a dentist and not a member of WWE Creative. Right. This is an interesting lineup here. You've got 3 guys over the age of 40 and another guy in Santos Escobar who will be 40. So I'm not sure if in terms of average age, ito na yung oldest Money in the Bank lineup natin. But hindi halata based on how they move, how they act, and everything.
I have a
This
question.
is the. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, say go ahead.
Like maganda pa rin ba yung match na to even with Logan Paul, with or without Logan Paul?
Without
Did you not
mean
watch
without
the
Logan
Royal
Paul.
Rumble?
No, I think he's asking without Logan Paul. Like,
Yeah.
is this still a good match? Yes. Come on.
Yeah.
Come
ano
on.
ba? Look at the lineup,
Wala ka-
dude.
Wala kang
Yeah.
tiwala. Oh, do you think you can better? You can do better?
No.
Kaya mo pala. Di pala
No,
maganda
I'm just asking kasi baka mamaya. Like, what do people prefer? Like, with Logan Paul or without Logan Paul?
Does it matter? I don't think it
yeah,
does.
I mean, like, may magagawa pa ba tayo? I mean, like,
Kasi
they're
para
make-
sa akin, Logan Paul being part of this match is unnecessary. I just don't want
For
that.
you.
okay.
But for a lot of the casual fans who remember, WWE does want to attract the casual fans, the new eyes. Logan Paul does that.
I actually, now that Rowan mentions it, I actually have a thing to say about this. I don't think Logan Paul was needed here in this really casual friendly match. Money in the Bank is like the Royal Rumble. It is quite casual friendly. It is a bunch of guys being stuck in a ladder match to grab a briefcase. But that is pretty casual friendly to me. And then you got what? At least one high flyer here. And then you add Logan Paul to the mix, about two high flyers because we have Santos and Ricochet, and then Logan Paul. So, by all measures and standards, this was going to be a good match anyway. Because this is the oldest young lion pool in the history of Money in the Bank. None of these guys have won a world championship, and these are the oldest non-title winners ever. So
yeah, yung bunso
I
nila
thought
is
of
Butch, who's about to be 30.
yeah. What?
Maganda.
Really?
Yeah,
Butch
Butch
is
is about to be 30 pa lang.
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he
he's
was younger than that.
No. 93 siya. Late 1993.
Bruce Austin Theory tried to cash in on Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't think Logan Paul needed to be here to make it casual friendly. It is more casual friendly because Logan Paul is in it, but I think they were okay without him. But
yeah, but I'm sure after what happened to Royal Rumble, they want to create more GIFs with Logan Paul and
it's
Ricochet.
been so long, it's been so long since then.
Still,
Like
brand new GIFs for the next half year.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if there's any casual fan listening or watching here, did you think to yourself, I haven't seen Logan Paul in a while. This Money in the Bank match shirt could use a Logan Paul in it. But I don't think anyone was asking for that. Like, alam mo yun, like, it's nice to have, but I don't think anyone was jonesing for a Logan Paul comeback here. So that's
on the bright side, if you really hate Logan Paul, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy every time he falls and crashes into the ladders.
And he's gonna injure himself again. The thing now is
the bank briefcase hostage if nanalo siya.
Yun. So you brought up that. So is he gonna win, and does he deserve to win? Because big casual name, big big YouTuber who makes videos for 14-year-old girls. Does he deserve the championship? Does he deserve an automatic championship from the Money in the Bank cash in?
And I'm going to argue the same thing that David Shoemaker once said. Now, Logan Paul is the briefcase. Anytime he wants, he can get a title shot just because he is Logan Paul. So he doesn't need it, but he's there to just attract eyes to it. So obviously your winner is going to come down to your other 6 guys. So is it LA Knight's turn? Is it his just reward for getting over really quickly?
Yeah, I'm not. Again, for the nth time, I'm not the biggest LA Knight fan, but I think you do have to reward getting over organically. LA Knight is also not getting any younger, so my pick is Nakamura. But I think yung mga deserve naman manalo ang dapat manalo.
Ikaw, Rowan.
I have another thought about this match that what I like about this is hindi siya yung parang nagre-recycle ng wrestlers who has already participated a match like before. I mean, Nakamura did participate in
so as
Money
Ricochet.
In the match. Yeah, and Ricochet. Pero remember the time like Kane keeps on participating and then the commentators are like, oh, he is the record-setting 5-time participant or parang ganun. I kind of dislike that. Parang other people deserve that spot. And I think ito na yung parang definition na like this is the perfect Money in the Bank ladder match. Well, without Logan Paul, it would be cool.
All right. So who's your pick to win?
Okay, final na talaga LA Knight.
All right. That was your cue to say yeah, but you didn't. So you missed your shot. All right, moving on. Talk about Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. This should be fun.
Oof. I don't know. Clearly you have to win. You have to give Cody the win. Those like the easiest wins of his career, diba? Pero, would you riot again if Cody lost to Dom?
Nakakatawa lang eh.
Diba?
Wait, why is it funny?
That would be hilarious
Rowan?
to me.
Because it
Why
just
though?
I just don't see Dom beating Cody. Yeah, it would be a huge upset.
Even with a Rhea Ripley distraction?
Yeah. It's still weird to see Dominic. Pero it would further his heel work na parang it would tawag dito. Parang people would hate him even more.
More
Yeah,
than
that's
they
kinda-
already do.
Yeah, more than
That's
they
kind of the point
Yeah.
by having him beat someone on the level of Cody Rhodes.
yeah.
I would.
Pero
Why
it's
not?
actually fine. I realize now putting over a younger talent kasi Cody is not young anymore pala.
He's definitely not. But
I sometimes
now,
forgot.
the more I think about it, the more I want Dominic to win because I'm still not over the broken arm thing. So this guy technically still has a broken arm. So even though the Beast Incarnate was not able to defeat him with a broken arm, maybe the young the young dude who hides behind his mommy might. Diba? So maybe that could happen. I want to see that.
Yeah, Prison Dom could come in and bring the Dementors from England and suck Cody's soul, diba? Suck the adrenaline out of his soul.
Mm-hmm. Diba? Okay, yan. Now I want to see it. Okay, I'll pick a Dominic win. Malay mo, diba? Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things indeed have happened.
Ash is here. What up, Ash?
Yo, what's up, Ash?
Why are you not going?
Oh,
You're
nga.
there.
It's in your backyard, bro.
Yeah. What the? Oh, you were at Clash. Okay.
At least.
I think that was a better experience, though. I mean, all things considered, I think that was a much better experience.
Even with Tyson Fury singing.
Oh, di naman ako may problema
yeah,
with Tyson Fury singing. Diba, Emil?
Favorite song ni Emil.
That's right. It was Emil's favorite number. All right, last couple of matches for Money in the Bank. Seth
I
freaking
like Don
Rollins and
McLean.
Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. I really enjoy this feud. I love all the callbacks to SummerSlam. I love them fleshing out Finn's motivations. I love how nag-flip na rin sila ng roles and how they're really respecting the history that both of these guys have had with one another. And I'm going to call a Finn Balor win here. I think it's time. I think Seth did his job by establishing the World Heavyweight Championship. He defended it twice against Damien Priest and Braun Breaker. And it's time to pass it on to Finn Balor, who can do greater things with it.
I agree. Kasi Seth doesn't have to hold the title that long. Established na rin naman si Seth, and the world title itself is kind of established as something important. Yeah, I think it's time for Finn to be the champion this time. And para fair na rin sa kanya kasi like he only held the universal title for a day. Kaya I want him to have a lengthy world title reign. Kaya it's time for a title change.
Yeah, I want it to happen for sure. It's just that I know it's not going to happen because the big thing right now is going to be Finn versus Priest after this. I think there is still also some more money to be made with fighting champion Seth. I think that experiment isn't over yet. I think we'll be talking about it in the audio only, but there have been so many good things about this championship reign that I also don't want it to be over. So a lot of good things. It's a good sign. You want a lot of things to happen, but they can't happen for a number of good reasons as well.
Yeah, they all can't happen because for one thing to happen, the other cannot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is exactly how the universe works. But so because of that, because of the good things we have right now, I am calling for a Seth defense, successful retention, and I'm okay with that. I think we are gonna get so much more fun stuff with Seth as champion still.
Eto, sabi ni Ash, what if JD McDonough interferes? Or what if Damian Priest wins Money in the Bank? You kind of have to have Finn winning the big gold belt here just to create that tension even more.
Yeah. I think the good thing here is sobrang daming pwedeng mangyari. And the fact that these different possibilities have opened up is a testament to how good the writing has been, truly. So I want all of those things to happen, but we can only pick one.
Yeah.
And my
We can
pick
only
right
pick
now
one thing.
is the Seth win.
All right. So on the record, it's me and Rowan picking Finn and Ro picking Seth. Let's close it out here with the Bloodline Civil War. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. No championships on the line here.
Yeah, the rumors are there are two different wild finishes being discussed for this match. So um to that extent, I don't know if they have or if they're honoring whatever long-term story they're planning, or talagang it's boiling down to how it's gonna play out. Diba? So for me though, I need the Usos to win because this is their story, and we're just gonna go back to square one if Roman and Solo beat them. Say, what's the point of the revolt, diba? If they get squashed eventually.
Yeah.
They have to build momentum. The Usos have to win, and I think everyone recognizes that. And this is a way for Roman to, to be beaten without losing his championship, which I think is good for business.
Title is not on the line. It's fine for me that the Usos will win. Tsaka, I mean, the story will even be more compelling. Roman losing to his cousins is like his kryptonite. I want the story to eventually lead to Roman facing one of the Usos, like whichever Uso pins Roman, like let's say Jay, and then so he wins, right? He will then face Roman at SummerSlam. That's the way I see it for the UU title.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be calling for that. Jay picks up a pinfall win here over either Solo or Roman, and then they're going to use that to kickstart yung SummerSlam feud nila. I don't mind, especially since SummerSlam will be almost 3 years to the date when Jay and Roman first squared off for the Universal Championship. So I kind of like how it goes full circle by then. Should Roman take the pinfall here, though? Because the last time Roman lost, no Night of Champions, it was Solo who looked up at the lights.
Oh, hey, that's a good thing. But that's a good point. I think Solo is here to eat the pin. Syempre, it's not going to be as satisfying as someone pinning Roman, but syempre, you got to save that moment as well. So, Solo did eat the pin, I remember.
Yep, no Night of
last
Champions.
time, yeah. So I think he'll be doing the same here.
Eto, sabi ni Giancarlo, baka may bagong i-introduce na Bloodline member, kind of like nung Clash at the Castle when Solo was introduced.
Sino? Si Tamina. Asking, si
I mean, it's not Naomi, whoever that's going to be, but it's not going to be Naomi.
I really wish Naomi when she was still in WWE.
Is it going to be what? Jacob Fatu?
Yeah, it's not going to be the young Fatu, the youngest brother. So, I don't think it's going to be a new Bloodline member.
Wag na, tatagal lang lalo yung story.
Long-term storytelling, Rowan. All right, so those are our predictions for Money in the Bank.
Si Rikishi pala.
Si Rikishi babalik.
bago siya pumunta dito sa Pilipinas.
Babalik muna siyang WWE. Thank you to everybody who sent in your predictions in the comment section. If you're listening to this on the audio-only version, you can drop in your predictions and your reactions on TikTok and on Twitter at Wrestling2XPod. Coming up in the audio-only portion, we're going to talk some NXT, like Baron Corbin bringing back the Lone Wolf, NXT integration, some main roster storylines, and some stuff from Dynamite, which aired a few hours ago. So catch that over the weekend when the audio-only version of the pod drops on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rowan, you haven't been here in a while, so how about you start off our plugs here? Anything to promote?
Please listen to our audio-only episode, the Pick of the Week's episode, Picks of the Week episode. Tsaka, our Patreon review is a freebie now, so basahin niyo yan. Me and Ro are working hard on it.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely.
Ro, your plugs?
Yes, sir. A new episode of Unmasked out this morning. So if you haven't listened to it yet, please do. Please go check it out. It is the story of our first Revolution X 2015. It is, or was rather, the so-called WrestleMania of the Philippines. Whether or not that was true is up to you guys, the fans. But we were there for it. Stan and I were there for it, and we, apart from having another tag team match, we were also a part of a major creative decision that we regret to this day. So that story is in that
Hindi
episode.
lang creative decision. Like, I was actually in that moment in canon.
Oh yes, oh yes. Oh, I was a creative consultant for that. So
Fuck me.
yeah. Yeah, so that story is in there. So for those looking for more classical Brian Leo stories, that's the hook. Also, talk about how the mask was made, who made the masks, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So please, if you haven't listened to it yet, it's Unmasked: The Chronicles of Romoran and Sandata. It's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think those are the only major platforms that you can find it on. And please do check it out. If you listen, please give me 5 stars, or rate however you want it. Be honest, as long as you rate it. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. Enjoy my stories, and we'll be back with another episode next week of my first singles match versus one Chris Panzer. And syempre, we have more episodes of Manila Wrestling Federation Action Novela TV. The latest episode just dropped yesterday. It involved our friends from Oro Plata Mata, myself in the ring, and Crystal. So please do check that out, manilawrestling.com. You can subscribe to our Gank profile for only $10, around 600 pesos. You can pay via GCash, debit card, credit card, and a whole bunch of ways to support the show. And yun ba, also want to shill because the finished product is where you can hear our work as commentators. So if you go to the shows, Rowan, you still watch the final product kasi syempre you don't catch everything in a live taping. So
Yeah, saka gusto ko baka mamaya gusto ko marinig yung commentary kasi baka mamaya
Exactly.
may nire-reference ka.
exactly.
And,
So
storytelling na rin.
yeah, we do add that extra layer of storytelling. So if you want to support, if you want to hear me do my thing, if you want to hear myself, Sunny, and Will do our thing and support what we do, please do, check that out on Gang. Because we work so hard on it, and we want you to watch the full thing. Because the whole is much better than the sum of its parts, So please go check that out, manilawrestling.com. And then follow us on TikTok then at Wrestling2XPod.
All right. Thank you again to everybody who caught episode number 600 of the Wrestling Podcast. All of the followers, streamers, or people who stream the show, subscribers, viewers, patrons, most especially. You guys are the reason we continue to be the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast for 600 episodes and counting. Big shout out as well to babyface producer Jasper at the controls, who does a very fantastic job at making sure that the show runs smoothly and takes care of the editing as well. And thank you to everybody over at PNA for all of the good work that they do behind the scenes, because without them, we'll have a much smaller platform to put the podcast on. Thank you as well to Rowan and Ro for being here with me on the stream. And we'll catch you next week for our Picks of the Week episode and another live stream as we review Money in the Bank. Follow us individually at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, at Roweswar, and at _Stan C. For Rowan ASH and Ro Moran, my name is Stan C, reminding everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Bye-bye.
Peace.